Gossip, blah, blah.
Welcome back then to the 8th season of the F1 Sim Racing World Championship 2026. A brand new venue for Event 2, the F1 Media and Technology Centre, looking absolutely resplendent with the rigs and the pit walls behind the drivers. It was truly special yesterday and our round 4 as we raced around Jeddah, and we're back again for 2 more races. We will be racing in Barcelona and we will be racing in Silverstone. And there's a change in the talent lineup, that's what it's officially called, as we welcome back Alex Jakes to the proceeding. Well, good morning and welcome back. Good to be back.
Wonderful to be back. Another season, a brilliant season in progress. You started things when the Japanese Grand Prix weekend was going on, and we've got some title battle in progress. We always have some title battle in progress.
Well, I don't need to give you your credits, but F1 commentator.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. The voice of F1 smashed
No, too far.
Too far. OK, I'll pull it back a little bit. It was truly special. Great to have you on the sofa today and commentating. And Kai Bacchini, yesterday, it was just electric. What were your biggest takeaways from yesterday's action?
Oh, biggest takeaways, never count out Jarno Opmeer. No matter where he qualifies, if he makes it into that Q3 in qualifying, starting inside the top 10, you always need to keep your eye on the Flying Dutchman. He's a 3-time world champion for a reason, and he proved that again yesterday.
Yeah, picking up his 17th win. Incredible. Nini Jade, welcome to the team again.
Thank you.
Day two,
Day 2.
Our official pit lane reporter. How did you find yesterday? It just caught up in all of the drama.
I thought it was brilliant, and it was nice to actually be here and see it in the flesh. It's all very well watching it from home, but when you're here, when I had the privilege of being down in the arena with the drivers, and obviously you have to be talented to be an F1 sim racer, but especially a track like Jeddah yesterday, we saw just how precise they had to be. A lot of them are really nervous and they all smashed it.
Yeah, and we threw you in the sort of deep end of talking about drivers that came out of Q1, but let's look, which was never an easy task. We'll be making you do that again today. Let's talk about the action as it unfolded, Kai. I know you've caught up with it, Alex, but I mean, what was the biggest takeaway? The start, there was the kind of alternate strategy or sort of, be patient, and that seemed to work out for Jarno.
Well, strategy was a huge thing for this race, and it was only really when those pit stops came into play and when the strategy really started to come into function that we saw those overtakes and the drivers start to get aggressive in their maneuvers. It was always going to be a waiting game towards the end of the race. Tom Manley was the leader on the alternate strategy. You can see he started on the hard compounder tyres. The other driver to do so was Jarno Opmeer. Ulash Ozzy Yildirim was making his way through the order. John Evans, unfortunately, being collected in a little bit of contact between the two of them. But in the end, we all thought that the undercut was going to be more strong on this circuit of Saudi Arabia, but it was the overcut that worked out in the favour of the drivers up at the front end. Ismail Fassi finding himself in the heart of controversy, having that incident down at turn 1 with Istvan Pukki. That was the contact there that they had under brake, and Pukki just completely misjudging his braking zone, sending Fassi over the wall, rejoining and being collected. It was sweat on the forehead, but in terms of his driving, he looked cool, calm and collected. Jarno Opmeer was just carving his way through the field on those fresh medium set of tyres, using the grip, using the traction and using his raw pace to make his way through the order. Alex, I don't know if you managed to catch much of this race, but once again, Jarno Opmeer on top form that we would expect.
Yeah, and it's just the nature of this circuit, isn't it? We saw it last year, we've seen it again. The concertina effect of a couple of the effectively chicanes, and the fact that the walls are so close, you're always going to get moments like we saw earlier in the race, but Jarno Opmeer just driving with supreme confidence. If you compare that to a year ago when he was just trying to stay in the mix, we were talking about the qualifying form. To contrast that with him just starting very much on the front foot. He's had the through goes Opmeer moment, and now he's rattling off the victories. Ominous for the rest of the field.
That is the key word there, ominous. And speaking to Jarno after that race win, he just seems so calm, which I think is never, not adrenaline.
Yeah.
In Bahrain, in event 1, he got that win and you could see how much it meant to him. And now he just looks very eyes on the prize, very much. So there is your classification of that race around Jeddah. And Otis Lawrence obviously starting on pole, getting that point. That's why he's got 19 points there. And a real disappointment for Ferrari. I think that was the shock. I mean, you spoke to John Evans and Ismail Fassi. It's a real surprise at the moment for them.
Yeah, they're really struggling at the moment. I mean, John Evans, he looked absolutely defeated. And you can tell they are genuinely trying. It's not from lack of trying. The talent is there. It's just not translating at the moment for them. I'm sure they're hoping for a better round in Barcelona, but I know it's still early on in the championship, but the points are starting to take shape now, so they really need to pull up their socks.
Hey, it's his birthday tomorrow, so I'm absolutely rooting.
I love your research.
It's John Evans' birthday tomorrow. I'm rooting for it.
Absolutely bang on every year.
He's the fans' favourite. Let's see what that's done for the drivers' standings and how things line up. Because, yeah, today we have the unknown. We are going to be going around Barcelona. There's a few things I still want to talk about. What do you notice straight away there, Alex, for you? I mean, going into the event 2, 9 different drivers on the podium after the first 3 races. Phenomenal. That's how close it is.
Yeah, and it's wonderful to see. In the past, when we covered this, you felt that there were a couple of names in the mix. I genuinely can make the case for half the field, and that is a phenomenal case to be in. The thing that stood out for me in the standards there, Longate, for years, I've been thinking, this guy has so much talent. Is this going to be a chance where he puts it together? He's given himself a foundation, P3 in the standings, to push on for that real tilt at the title. He's always someone who I've thought's had a fantastic, core natural speed, no matter the year of game that we're competing with.
You caught up with him yesterday. I've got a few more questions about Nico, but can we talk about Ulash Ozzy? I mean, 2 podiums already, his first. He's on a bit of a roll at the moment. Fascinating to see for him and the Racing Bulls team, Kai.
Yeah, it was a big upset the way that things panned out for him last season, but it's great to see that he's bounced back from that controversy and bounced back from that situation to then come back and prove himself up at the front of the field. He's been constantly up at the tight end, which is what we'd expect from Ulash Ozzy. He's one of those drivers that is notorious for their raw, aggressive pace, and maybe that aggressive nature is something that he needs to iron out. But that will come with experience, that will come with time in his races. Still finding himself in little incidents like this. Got away with that one. That was ruled as a racing incident by the stewards, but he needs to be careful with the contact. Still the driver with the most penalty points out of everyone in the field. 5 penalty points to his name right now. But Ulash Ozzy proving that he belongs up at the front end, taking the fight to the likes of Otis Lawrence and Jarno Opmeer. Unfortunately, couldn't get that race victory that he was ultimately looking for, but still proving that he's a driver that needs to be in contention and that we need to keep an eye on in terms of the championship battle.
I think it's fascinating for me that the fact that you're saying he needed time. You get no time in F1 sim racing. It's absolutely deliver immediately. There is a change though, which I do want to talk about. The fact that we're applauding him, he's fast. However, a few silly mistakes, getting caught up in drama, needs to eliminate that. Well, Joni Tommala comes straight in for him. Now, this is something which I think if anyone's new to F1 sim racing will be thinking, why is this happening? The man's just scored a load of points, 4 racing balls, and he's out. It is fascinating to see. There obviously is a reason for this, maybe time management, learning the circuit, being at your optimum level, but it is unusual, isn't it?
Some teams go in this direction. We saw it last year with Mercedes. Some teams elect to go with their strongest 2 the entire time, and they back a couple. You can make a case for both versions, but as you say, when you get a great result, when the driver's been in the mix for the win and then suddenly they're not competing in the next one, it's got to sting for them.
It must do. But then the OG, as he's known, Joni Tommala comes in. Have you had the pleasure of chatting to Joni yet?
Not yet. We had a brief introduction, but not like a deep, proper chat, which was pending today.
Okay, well, yeah, a phenomenal force. We know how good he can be, Joni. Hopefully he's in the points today. Driver changes for Alpine. Now, this one will come as a shock. They're obviously hunting down Red Bull, who are top of the team standings at the moment. A driver change, Kai. Did this surprise you?
I would say it has. You know, it's a big change. Josh Ido finally getting his chance to step up this season in the Alpine colours. Obviously, both drivers, Beresnay and Ido, fresh into the Alpine colours this season. But Danny Beresnay, that's the old trusted there. You can always rely on him to score those championship points, help the team, help his teammate, and always consistently be within that top 10. Josh Ido, though, a young, pressing talent, and I think the Welsh pairing is going to be interesting to see how they perform today.
Wow, that is going to be a big order there, the double Welsh in the house. Danny Beresnay getting a P5 yesterday. Josh Ido always impressed us over the years, back to 2020 when you started in F1 sim racing, Jakes.
It's interesting with that setup as well. Danny Beresnay used to that last year. He was racing for Mercedes last year, so he's used to that. Be consistent the entire time, show all of his experience, show all of his knowledge. But he's been in that situation where he knows that he's going to vacate the seat. I still think a driver wants to be in every single event, pushing 100%, but they know what they sign up for at the start of the year.
Yeah, Otis Lawrence talked yesterday about Alpine, about it's the best team he's ever been part of. You'll definitely have a bit of FOMO not being part of that team, Jakesy. But it was apparent yesterday when Otis got that pole.
I mean, the place erupted. The scream probably woke up the neighbours next door. And it just meant so much to him. And then to obviously not convert it to the win, you could see his disappointment. But he's feeling quite confident about Barcelona. I mean, obviously he's not racing. Josh Ido is racing. I actually caught up with him earlier today. So let's take a look at that.
Josh, 3 podiums and 2 poles in your career history. This will be your first race. Your last race was the season finale in Abu Dhabi last year. Alpine are having a great start to their season. What can we expect from you today?
Yeah, you can expect a lot. Obviously, with Danny and Otis in the team, it's as competitive as ever, and they're doing really well. And I'm feeling well prepared for Barcelona. I've had only 1 track to practice for, so yeah, I'm feeling good, and hopefully the good results can continue.
Well, speaking of Barcelona, it's very much a track of the unknown. F1 sim racing hasn't been here before. You said you've only had to prepare for Barcelona, so you're feeling confident. What has been your process been like preparing?
Yeah, so from the get-go, from after event 1, I was basically told to focus on Barcelona. And it's quite the advantage when you can just focus all your efforts on 1 track. So I've been preparing hard in qualifying because qualifying is really important in Spain and very narrow and hard to overtake. So a lot of qualifying laps, yeah, feeling good, and hopefully it's a good one.
Your fellow countryman and teammate Otis Lawrence is having a great start to his season, and you've had the veteran of Danny Beresnay join your team as well. What's it like working with them both?
It's they're interesting characters, that's for sure. But I love it. I love working with them. They're very helpful, and of course they're extremely talented. So compared to last season, I've learned so much from them. And I think everyone in the team can see that my pace has improved since they've been in the team. So yeah, perfect.
Otis got the pole yesterday. Will you be screaming as loud as Otis if you get the pole today? Just set the trend.
If we get a Welsh one too, I'll scream just as loud, maybe even louder than he does.
I'll hold you to that, Josh.
Yeah.
Thank you for speaking with us. We really appreciate it. Best of luck today.
Thank you.
I have never wanted something more to happen in my life. 1-2 for those both Welsh drivers. The laugh he had when you asked him what's it like working with Otis and Danny Beresny, you knew there was more to that story. They're very interesting characters, he said.
I wanted to push him on that, but I might have to push him a little bit later, just to find out what he meant by interesting. I mean, we know Otis is such a character, cheeky chappy, very loud. He's not afraid to absolutely be himself. And Danny as well, he's a big character as well. Actually, what was really nice about it is when Otis got his pole yesterday, he was obviously screaming and shouting from his sing rig, but Danny was also like, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Beautiful lap,
he
that's what
was
he said,
screaming as well. And that camaraderie, having that in a team, it was so lovely to see.
Well, you alluded to it. We are going to be racing around Barcelona. The unknown, we called it yesterday a mystery box of essentially what is about to happen here, because we've never raced there in F1 sim racing. This is going to be really interesting, isn't it, Kai?
No, it is. I'm very excited. We did say there was a lot of mystery surrounding and shrouding this circuit. Barcelona in league racing on the F1 sim game and also in the F1 sim racing championship. They don't really visit there. We've never visited here in the F1 sim racing championship, so there is no data, there is no past results for the drivers to look at and learn from. So it is very much a mystery. Anything could happen. We have no idea who could be up at the front end. It could be the usual, it could be the unusual. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, you've got the timings in front of you, so jot those down. Make sure you come and join us later on for the race at 2 o'clock, and then we'll be back qualifying for Silverstone today at 5 p.m, racing about 7:30. Barcelona, as a track, as a circuit, obviously one of these drivers, the 18, are going to be putting themselves into history by being the first winner around here. What do you make of the track, Alex?
It was never used because in the era of the final chicane, because it was a bit of a nightmare with that final chicane. So they've deleted that, and I think it's going to lend itself to a bit of an unpredictable order. There's a little bit of a flow between Barcelona and heading into Silverstone later on today, in that they're circuits where your car needs to perform in the medium speed stuff, in the high speed stuff, like the corner you're looking at right now that begins the lap. So drivers have a similar sort of day. But the unknown, you always get a bolter, don't you, when you get a new circuit? You get someone who just thrives around a layout that we've not tried before. But I like the fact that for all the hours they put in, we are now going to something different. But yeah, if it still had the chicane, we'd be going nowhere near it.
I'm glad we're going there. We're mixing it up a little bit. Julian Klaffenbach. The reason I mentioned him yesterday, his debut season, picks up points yesterday, finished P7, and then is out for Tycho Hardy, who has been practicing ready for Barcelona around here, and he seems excited about it. How do the drivers feel about it, Nina? You've spoken to them.
Do you know, they're all very cautious. There's a nervous energy about them, I think, because we've talked about how it is unknown. Everyone's saying the same thing. Qualifying is critical. Everyone is saying you can't overtake here. So I hope that's not the case. And Jarno said himself, it might end up being the best race ever. We just don't know, and that's the beauty of it. But I think a lot of them are putting all of their eggs into qualifying this morning because they know track position is very much king around here.
And you can just see past the Red Bulls there. I was pointing at my own screen as if you could, but for you guys, Jan Halliday comes back in for Aston Martin. Duncan Hoffman not scoring points yesterday. He's out. Jan Halliday. So there's lots of changes for this. We did see a picture there of Nico Longa. You mentioned how much we've been sort of tipping him to be a champion. This really could be his season. I want to unpack that a little bit.
There's a driver who, anytime he's on pole position, anytime he's fighting for the win, it's not a surprise. So it's always a surprise to then just see the form go like this. It's something that he's tried to get on terms with. We saw last year the anguish he had. He wasn't missing out by much, but he was missing out in these qualifying sessions of crucial progression a couple of times. You can't afford it. We're even talking about the championship leader, Jarno Opmeer. It's never been his strongest suit on a one-lap pace. You don't get inside the top 10 around Barcelona, look forward to a really long experience behind the wheel later on. So they're all feeling their pressure. I feel a lot for the drivers who've practiced on just the one track. The pressure they feel going into this qualifying session is going to be immense. And knowing that you get your opportunity, that they've built it, that they've benched a very, very talented driver to make room for you, I think they'll be feeling a lot of pressure.
Okay, well, we've mentioned a few driver changes. Let's confirm the driver lineups today as we go through the grid walk. Where should we start, Alex?
I think Mercedes would be a good place to start. Tycho Hardy and Thomas Ronhaar. Thomas Ronhaar trying to rediscover the form that led him to be a championship contender 1 year ago.
Yeah, exciting to see what Mercedes are going to be able to do here. A lot riding on this one, taking home points yesterday with Klaffenbach. He qualified 4th for the race, finishing 7th. You could see he was a little bit deflated after the race and maybe expected a little bit better, but still a good haul of points for your first ever point scoring position in the F1 Sim Racing Championship. Tycho Hardy, all eyes are going to be on him at Mercedes to see what he's able to do. And alongside him, Thomas Ronhaar. It was his birthday yesterday. Celebrations are alongside, but maybe more celebrations if there's a good result today.
Yeah, let's send it to McLaren then. Always a strong lineup for them. Jake Benham, Alfie Butcher, 2 rapid customers and 2 drivers that I think will be trying to play themselves into a bit of form. I mean, we mentioned it for Ronhaar, but this just shows us, I think, where the championship is at right now, in that you would expect both of them to be at the forefront and being contending, and yet when you've got such a deep field, when you've got so much talent in there, sometimes, Guy, you find yourself with great drivers missing out on Q3. So to Racing Bulls we go next. Now, we mentioned Joni Tommala coming in. That is crucial. He's alongside Tom Manley, who you saw playing a big part in the destination of the big trophies before. Joni Tommala, ice cold, as we always expect.
Yeah, Joni Tommala, you can always rely on him for some good results. He's the veteran of the championship, as Tom mentioned, his nickname, the OG. He is the quiet head that you can expect to train the other drivers, hand out the advice, and also help everyone alongside him.
Ismail Fassi, breakthrough season last year, getting used to life at Ferrari this, alongside John Evans. John Evans, part of that controversial moment at turn 27 yesterday. They are behind the wheel of the Ferrari team for the moment, looking at their setup as it stands. Fassi, without the fast start that he got 1 year ago, he does have the 1 podium finish in 2026. Let's send it to his former team now and check in with Istvan Pukki and Nicolas Longuet. Longuet sitting 3rd in the standings. Pukki so reliable last year when he was part of that driver swap lineup for Mercedes a year ago, but he's only got 1 point scoring finish so far this campaign.
Yeah, Nicolas Longuet, you can see his pre-race meditation underway. I'm excited to keep an eye on him this season. He currently has a lower average finishing position than Jarno Opmeer, the driver leading the championship, and his results speak aplenty.
Thomas Gau and Joris Krozen next for Haas. The Haas team, always rooted for by Tom Deacon. He's got a soft spot for them because of the way that they've fought their way through. Sometimes it's been competitive, sometimes it hasn't been competitive. These two trying to fight their way to the top 10 once again.
Yeah, I have got a soft spot for Haas. Always have done. They've produced the likes of Alfie Butcher, Thomas Ronhaar before that. These two guys in this driver pairing for Haas, first time both drivers scored points in the same race, and that happened yesterday in Jeddah. And Thomas, Joris Krozen, incredible from him, scoring in every single race so far this season. I'm rooting for them. They finished bottom of the team standings last year. Not this year. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Great consistency, and Krozen finding himself 7th in the standings going in to today's double header of races. Where are we going next in terms of the teams? We're going to Alpine, and we've spoken about Alpine so much. Otis Lawrence and Josh Edu, the Welsh pairing up front. Both of them are going to believe that they're in the battle for pole position later on. One driver who's thrown all of his eggs into one basket, and the other one who always expects to be fighting at the front.
Yeah, I mean, Otis Lawrence, big storyline for us this year, championship contender. Unfortunately, the gap did widen between himself and Jarno yesterday, 9 points now. He lines up alongside Josh Edu.
Jan Haletti and Ruben Pedreno for Aston Martin as the pairing we're looking at next. They are standing by. We're cycling through all the teams. We're showing you live pictures in the arena. The first time an event has been held at the Media and Technology Centre. Those two looking prepped. I love the awkward standby and hope that I don't make direct eye contact with the camera moment that we get at this stage. Final team, you know the lineup of Red Bull Racing. Once again, Freddie Rasmussen, Jarno Opmeer, so long a benchmark, so long contending at the front. But Freddie Rasmussen, a bit of hit and miss so far in 2026.
Yeah, ever since that mishap at Suzuka where we saw him jump the start and then the incident later on in the race that saw him retire, it just hasn't been the same fast Freddie that we're used to. And a lot of question marks looming around Freddie Rasmussen right now. Is this just a dip in performance? Is it a knock in confidence? Or is this something that we're going to see for the rest of the season? I really do hope, for Rasmussen's sake, that he's able to recuperate all of that confidence and get himself back on winning form. Red Bull as a team, they've already won 3 out of the 4 races so far. The only other race that's been taken away is by Otis Lawrence. But Red Bull, the best driver pairing statistically out of the championships, a 3 times champion alongside the highest point scoring finish in F1 sim racing history.
Yeah.
Freddie Rasmussen and Jarno Opmeer, you can't take your eyes off them.
The question I have is who's going to get 18 wins? Who's going to be the first? They're both on 17 at the moment. I can confirm to you now the drivers are in the pit lane. They have been bolted on a set of intermediates to go around, put some rubber down.
No, there's nonsense again. No, there's nonsense.
It's happened. You are not missing any of the action. It is fascinating to see Freddie Rasmussen, a pole to victory in China, had a pole in Suzuka, and it's just, the form sort of dipped off for Freddie. It's been fascinating to watch him, and last year wasn't that year. Are we even at the stage where our 5th race, we're starting talking about the fact, is he now going to be the teammate for Jarno to go and get that 4th title? Can we even begin to talk about that?
I mean, we very much can. Does he then get put into the support driver role by Red Bull? I don't think you can count him out too early on. I mean, a grand total of 1,127 career points to his name. Yeah, and I think there's only more to come, Alex, and that's exactly what we'd expect from Rasmussen. But this dip in performance, of course, it will be closely monitored by everyone around him. It will be closely monitored by everyone on the pit wall, the team, and I'm sure Jarno is also there to support Freddie if he needs it. 2 drivers, they work together very, very well as 2 teammates, and that's exactly why Red Bull have chose them.
Yeah, he said to me yesterday, Jarno, when I asked about Freddie, I said, what happened? He said, when you look at it, it's only 300th of a second out of getting in to Q3. And then at that point, it's difficult. And you have to be setting your personal best in qualifying. That's why we love qualifying for these guys. They have to be at the top. Otherwise, you're not going to start scoring those points, which we expect of Freddie, but there's nothing in it. It's fine margins.
He's superlative at Silverstone. He's proven that over his entire career. So good qualifying result here. Solid top 5 in Barca. We know he's going to be a contender at Silverstone. This is the joy of the double-header days. You can turn your championship around like that, and he is definitely capable of doing that.
Okay, 9 minutes left of this quali section, and you look at the drivers, and they are in the zone, final preparations, mentally ready to go racing. Is there a danger that they're not getting out there to set a lap? How does it work? For being on the F1 sim racing game, is this a daunting situation for them, or is it just nice and relaxed for them?
Well, I mean, we saw Otis Lawrence with his feet kicked up on the simulator yesterday. He was quite relaxed. Looks like he was on a beach somewhere, sunbathing. But no, you're actually in the F1 sim rigs. But we were talking about how important it was to get those banker laps in and make sure that you have time on the board. Duncan Hoffland actually found the bitter end of that yesterday, where he had no time on the board towards the end of qualifying and invalidated his final lap as well. So no time was recorded, and that's why we saw him eliminated so early on.
Yeah, aggressive warming of the tyres there from Jan Halliday. Scored in his debut race. He'll be hoping to put more points on the board for Aston Martin. But it is fascinating to see that they're only doing the outlaps now to try and get this setting a benchmark with times. I didn't do it yesterday. I feel like I want to do this now. Tempt fate. What are we saying? Who's going to be on pole? Straight away, who do we have a little bit of confidence about as a driver?
Predictions.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often. We didn't do it in Event 1.
I love it. Yeah. Predictions. I'm going to go for Otis Lawrence. Look how seriously he's taking things right now.
Yeah.
How could you possibly? But no, I think he knows he's going to need a return to form. So yeah, I think Otis Lawrence is my driver to beat around Barcelona.
Can he get his 3rd pole in his career in F1 sim racing? What about yourself, Kai?
Well, if we're talking about 3rd pole positions, I'll go for Josh Ido. He said in the interview earlier on with Nina that he was confident for the circuit. He's only been focusing on the circuit. You think of the rest of the drivers, they're practicing for all the other tracks this weekend. Josh has solely focused on Barcelona. Is Barcelona going to be his specialty? 2 pole positions already in his career. Let's make it a 3rd.
OK, we've got 2 drivers to keep our eye on then from the pundits. What about you, Nina?
It's a good call, Kai, because he seemed so confident. I must say, Josh is the most confident driver I've spoken to this morning. So that is a good call. I'm going to go with Otis. I think he feels like he's got something to prove after being overtaken by Jarno yesterday and losing out on the win. So either he's going to use that as motivation to get the pole today, or it's going to deter him. But my money's on Otis.
Okay, I'm going to stick money on Williams, Nico. It's going to
we
happen.
go.
Why not? I'm going to throw it out there.
I like it.
I'll pass it over to you, Alex Jakes, Kai Vicini, to take us through quali.
Thank you very much, Tom Deacon. Lovely throw. One of the great throws. Here we go then. Ready to get going once again. We have got through the part of Q1 that the drivers don't worry about whatsoever. And now we are ready to go full picture for you and show you some laps on the track. So an unrepresentative order on the left-hand side of your picture. And we will get the laps that really matter now.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Alex, but I'm so excited to see what happens here in Barcelona. A completely new circuit, and a lot could happen here. Alfie Butcher is looking for a better day than yesterday in his qualifying group, hitting the top of the timing tables already. It's looking to be a better picture for the McLaren driver. But Alex, as you know from the real life commentary in Formula One as well, Barcelona, it's the ultimate test of a driver. It's the ultimate test of a car as well. It's known for its aerodynamic reliance, and that is why we see it so often on the calendar with pre-season testing and also during the season. But it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers are able to adapt to that. Never been here before, so it's all up in the air.
It's a top point, isn't it? Because as we go on board with Thomas Ronhaar, it is something that in real life the drivers have data for days. And all the prep that you have, it doesn't recreate the moment of having the adrenaline, having the pressure. We've got drivers in the field today that find themselves having been backed by their teams to perform right here. Ismail Fassi is currently the fastest driver at the moment, ahead of Freddie Rasmussen, who we were discussing. Then it is Alfie Butcher, Joni Tourmala and Otis Lawrence. At the bottom of your page, Thomas Gall, Jake Benham, Tycho Hardy and Joris Krozen. Krozen, who we were talking about, being so consistent so far this year. He has yet to miss the points in the Sim Racing Championship of 2026. So we find ourselves with 4.5 minutes to go. Ismail Fassi switching teams at the start of this one. He got such a fast start, won the season opener 1 year ago. No win so far this year, but crucially, coming off the back of a retirement. That is, we saw the moment, it was a wipeout, no doubt about that. Nothing he could do about it, not at fault for it. And the nature of, someone always gets wiped out in Saudi. It's just the nature of going racing there.
Of course, and it's so hard for the drivers. They're so used to those wider circuits, having more room on the track. Saudi was the first street circuit that we saw on the calendar this time, so a completely different challenge for everyone on the grid. We were talking to the drivers after the races, and they were saying, well, Saudi's just a scary circuit to drive at. You need to be pinpoint accurate at every single point on the circuit. If you just clip one wall, that's the end of your lap. That's an invalidation. It's sending you to the other side of the circuit. And with the margins that we have here in F1 sim racing, it's the 18 best drivers in the world. Ismail Fassi, already confident with his time on the board in this Q1 session, so hopefully he's able to make it through in the top 15. But with it being the top 18 drivers in the world here on the game, you're not going to find anyone better. Every thousandth counts.
It does indeed, and we've seen that time and time again. Joni Tourmala, driver swap in for this session, for this day race event, finds himself 600ths of a second as we find ourselves with the pictures of the arena and this face-off that we've got between the rigs. These fantastic rigs that the teams have brought, 9 of them, and you're looking at the driver who finds himself in contention once again. Alpine man, an all-Welsh lineup today with Josh Edo being brought in alongside Otis Lawrence. A reminder for you, Otis Lawrence, 54 points in the championship. There's a man who knows what it's like to fight for a title. It's not been Thomas Ronhaar's year so far, just the one. I mean, I would have given you ridiculous odds that he was only going to score points on one occasion out of the first 4 events. But 11th place finish yesterday means that he finds himself in need of a confidence-boosting result. McLaren boys find themselves in position again. No cars out on track for the moment, being told. So you're not missing a moment. And it will come down to the high pressure for the 18 cars. There's the driver that they are all trying to catch. So we find ourselves with Tom Manley going out there nice and early. Soft tyres on the car. Manley finding himself in 7th. Those who find themselves in the top 4 believe they have done enough, tick the box, and move on with the rest of their day. The pressure will come when we reset the order for Q2 later on. Lawrence, then Otis Lawrence, then Otmir, Manley, Ron Ha, Ruben Pedreno, Nicholas Longate rounding out the top 10. Nicholas Longate in your picture at the moment. One thing that is crucial with the nature of these corners, track position, absolutely vital. Given the commitment that you have to show through here, through turn 9, given all the momentum that you take there, you cannot find yourself even distracted. You're only going to get distracted if you can't find yourself in that place. It would not be wise. You want, if you consider, look at the margins on the left-hand side. That's only going to get tighter as we get further through as well. You've got to get yourself in the zone. You've got to get yourself into the right part of the racetrack. And then, if you are further down, like Josh Eden, like Thomas Gao, like Jake Benham, we've seen the McLaren boys in picture a second ago there, you need a lap right now.
Well, that's the notorious thing about this Barcelona circuit is it's all about keeping that minimum and mid-speed as high as possible. It's all about momentum around this circuit. It's a massive aero load. It's a lot on the tyres as well, so strategy will be a big thing coming into the race. There's actually multiple different strategies that the teams and drivers can go with, and we've seen that work out in the favour of a few drivers over the course of this season so far, with Ruben Pedreno being most notably the one driver that's only touched the soft tyres in this F1 Sim Racing Championship so far. Very much worked out in his favour and was able to walk away with a nice haul of points because of that. But Sector 2, that is the crunch time. That is the crunch zone, the most difficult area of this circuit for the drivers. It's a big mix between heavy braking zones and medium speed corners, so drivers are having to adapt on a corner-to-corner basis on if they're looking to carry mid-speed or get the car stopped and plant that accelerator as soon as possible. This is a big test of the driver's accuracy around the circuit, and that is why Barcelona is such a prominent feature on the F1 calendar in the real-life racing. Time has now struck 0 on Q1, so the drivers that will cross the line will now end their session. Tom Manley looking for an improvement. It's not an improvement enough to gain him a position. Nico Longate will be looking for a little bit more. The Frenchman racing under the Italian flag is not able to improve on his position, so 10th place, that's a scary place for Nicolas Longate. We would expect him to be higher up. Crossing line, Jake Benham promotes himself up into 2nd. Josh Edo, the driver that I'm tipping for pole position, up into 4th, so finds himself safe for Q2. John Evans, can we see a Q2 appearance from the Brit in the Ferrari colours? It's a great improvement and actually gets himself up the order into 11th, and with good chance into Q2, he will take that one. So John Evans through into Q2. Otis Lawrence is going to top the Q1 timing tables, but Nico Longate keeping it right on the brim, not leaving any margin.
Oh, Jarno Otmir goes over the line, claims the fastest time. We will confirm our eliminated drivers in a moment for you. There is the top 2 in the standings, and we find ourselves with Jarno Otmir going over the line with that late lap, showing the confidence around a brand new venue for the Sim Racing Championship. And the debrief beginning as we find ourselves in the middle part after the checkered flag, and we will confirm who made it, who didn't, with the laps in a few seconds' time. And this is live pictures down from the arena. And the lights out for Haas. This is a new effect that we've got for you this year. Haas going very, very nicely with Crozen for a large part of the season, but both of those drivers eliminated in the first part of qualifying.
Yeah, the lights go out on the Haas gallery, meaning that both drivers have unfortunately been eliminated from the event. Jarno Otmir still well lit in his sim rig. However, for Haas, it all goes dark and gloomy after a double Q1 departure. That's such a shame to see after a double point scoring finish from the Haas drivers yesterday, just taking home a couple points. There is your confirmation on the eliminated drivers. Tycho Hardy goes home, unfortunately, for Mercedes, stepping in place of Julian Klaffenbach, and we'll have to start from down in 16th on the grid. Joining him will be the 2 Haas drivers of Thomas Gao and Joris Crozen. Alex, I mean, Tom was so confident about the Haas drivers. He was bigging them up for this weekend, and a nightmare Q1 for them, I think it's fair to say.
This is not the racetrack to have a bad Q1.
No.
And it's brutal with the nature of having 18 that we only lose the 3 drivers. But such a disappointment for the Haas pair as the light goes out. This is very, very game show, isn't it? That the light's gone out for them. And yeah, Tyler Hardy, like in the Mercedes with the opportunity, but not finding that improvement at the very end and finding himself sitting out the next part. If you thought that was close, when we progress to the next stage of qualifying, it is going to be brutal. And again, you just cannot bank. So all of those 3 drivers can go as aggressive with the alternative strategy as they dare. And at some tracks, you know, all right, you're going to roll the dice and you're going to hope for something to happen. We don't know what we're going to get with this venue. We don't know the Preston. So many times you get a different result against expectation around Barcelona when it comes to strategy. So not fully done for them, but a mountain to climb for our 3 eliminated drivers. And then there were 15, and we have 14 minutes on the clock as we go on board with Alfie Butcher. Some late improvements at the end, Kai, absolutely vital for many in the field. I think Evans especially will be delighted with stepping forward when it mattered.
Yeah, I think still just finding his footing in the championship right now is John Evans, and he's constantly improving. We can see that he has the raw pace. He's been unlucky with the situations that he's found himself in, with the contact with Július Ozziodrem yesterday at turn 27, eventually deemed a racing incident by the stewards after it was looked at, but Evans just really hasn't had luck on his side. And Barcelona, it's a new track. Everyone's on an even playing field. This could be his opportunity to shine. This is where we can see John Evans pull through and maybe take home some results or a good qualifying position as well for the Ferrari team.
So early stages in the second part of qualifying. And let's hear from one of the drivers in the top 10 of the championship and not taking part. Nina is with Joris Krozen.
Joris, you've scored points in every single round so far this season. What caught you out today?
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I just couldn't do a good lap, so nothing special.
I mean, it's a huge mountain to climb. It's tricky to overtake here. What can you realistically do from where you're starting?
Yeah, probably not much, but we just need to gamble and hope something happens at the front.
Does the fear of the unknown, I mean, we haven't been to this track in F1 sim racing. Anything could happen, really.
Well, I don't know. Let's see.
Let's see. I mean, like we said, it is tricky to overtake here. It is the unknown a little bit. What do you see for your race? What's the main focus now?
Yeah, just to try to climb positions, and yeah, maybe a miracle can happen and we get points. But
well, we believe in miracles, Joris. Best of luck for the race.
thank you very much.
Those are never particularly easy interviews to ask the questions for. Appreciate that from Nina asking the questions. Appreciate the answers from Joris Krozen. Fastest lap on the board for Otis Lawrence, laying it down. Fassi, how he would love a breakthrough. It's so calm, it's so imperturbable behind the wheel. Tom Manley's gone over the line. He has set the fastest time so far. We are setting our top 10 shootout with Freddie Rasmussen. I get the feeling that we're going to get a response from him today. It's just something about a fast-flowing circuit like we've got here, like we've got at Silverstone. We know he's proven that in the past. He's got the fastest time at the moment. Jarno Opmeer, 200ths of a second behind Red Bull, starting nicely. Then it's Manley, Lawrence, and we're still waiting to see competitive times from Fassi, from Butcher, from Pookie, and from Ron Hart.
Well, for Freddie Rasmussen, he has been in the championship since the inaugural season in 2017.
Yeah.
If anyone's going to know how to bounce back from a difficult situation, it's going to be this man right here, Freddie Rasmussen. His pace has not dipped off once in the 9 years that he's been racing in the F1 Sim Racing Championship, and I think that's why Red Bull have so much support and so much backing behind him, because they know they can rely on him. He may have a difficult couple of races, but we know he's going to bounce back. We know he's going to come back and be straight on top form once again. Currently leading the timing tables in Q2, both Red Bulls up at the top end. Leading the Constructors' Championship as well is Red Bull right now. That gap, not as much as it was coming into the weekend. 22 points is what separates Red Bull and Alpine. But I think the interesting thing is, Alex, is we were talking about who we expected on pole position, and everyone apart from Tom, who said Nico Longe, we all said an Alpine driver. Alpine, very much the underdogs coming into this championship. but after seeing their performance and what they're able to put down onto the circuit in the first 4 races, that perspective has completely changed, and Alpine are almost nearly the favourites now.
Yeah, and they've gone aggressive. Teams have a long time to think about what worked, what didn't work. Alpine have been contending for a while and want that breakthrough, and signing Otis Lawrence was absolutely key. We saw with his breakthrough season last year that he was going to be a contender. He's been very strong when it comes to the league stuff as well, and his expectation is that he's going to fight for the title. The man that he's trying to wrestle it away from, Jarno Opmeer, is in your picture. Freddie Rasmussen on the left-hand side. Freddie Rasmussen, I honestly thought when he got that win and pole position in China, felt ominous for the rest of the field, because he has started slowly in the past. You know he comes good across the course of the season, and then following it up with the non-scores. I mean, brutal with the jump start. I can't think of many times that's ever really happened in the races that I've covered. So, yeah, rough for that to happen, to befall him. You're not missing any on-track action. If you're wondering why our wonderful director is pointing the picture at Tom Manley. We have no cars on track for this moment in time. Tom Manley, good form so far, but again, the pressure's going to ramp up, and it's about producing your best under the pressure of knowing that one knock-up, it's one wide moment, it's one bounce off the curb the wrong way, and that can ruin things. You are into the art of perfection when it comes to these moments in qualifying.
Yeah, it's a few meters late or a few meters early in a braking zone. That's the difference between pole position and getting knocked out of Q2. That's exactly the risk that these drivers know, and especially when they're pushing 110% every single lap, because they need to be. They can't reserve anything. They can't leave anything in the tank, or else you're not going to be up at the front end. And funny that you mentioned the jump start there from Freddie Rasmussen. The only other time that I can remember, never mind a triple jump start in one race, the only other time I can remember a jump start was Brendan Lee last year in 2025. Obviously, that race got reset because of some issues with the game, but that is the last time I think that we saw a jump start from any driver.
Super rare.
Yeah, once again, Brendan Lee was so shocking to see from him. Brendan being the top driver, one of the faces of F1 sim racing at the time and throughout his experience, obviously champion in F1 sim racing. Also, Mercedes simulator driver, so proving that these skills are transferable into real-life racing. Not often do you see a sim racing driver then step up for the actual Mercedes Petronas AMG F1 team and be their designated simulator driver. There's been quite a few stories throughout the F1 sim racing campaign. Sebastian Job, the 3rd driver for Red Bull this year, eventually got a Formula 1 test as well and was able to drive the Formula 1 car. So that just shows that how big the sim racing world is and how transferable these skills actually are to real-life racing. I mean, the real-life drivers themselves, all on their off time, you'd think they're going to relax, they're going to have some chill time off. No, they're straight home onto their simulators.
I love it. Racers absolutely love any form they can get. Sebastian Job's such a brilliant all-rounder. No matter what he's been at the wheel of, and wonderful that he got that chance in real life. So the battle for the positions in the top 10. So Freddie Rasmussen, Jarno Opmeer out there nice and early, Josh Edu, and the driver that we are focusing on at the moment, Ismail Fassi, Alfie Butcher, Isvan Pookie, and Thomas Ronnar are the drivers who find themselves looking at the exit. Got to get improvements as well for John Evans out there in the mix. And so this is fascinating to see whether drivers who have not had the easiest start, like John Evans, can take that step forward. We would expect Ismail Fassi in the top 10 every single time 100%. We go racing, and that is why this is a lap of immense pressure, and we've got 5 minutes to go, and he has answered the call nicely to go fastest of anyone so far. We get the representative time. Aston Martin across the line, and then John Evans, we spoke about him before. John Evans cuts the beam, goes in to he remains in 7th position. Then it's Freddie Rasmussen, Jarno Opmeer dropping down, and now we're getting the laps. Now we're getting the big times when it matters. We're getting the fresh rubber. We're getting a representative order. We head now to Tom Manley in a crucial final part of the lap where you really have to balance risk and reward. You've got the heavy braking zone, the rotation of the car, and then the fast stuff to end the lap.
I mean, these drivers are glued to the simulators. When we were at the NEC in Birmingham, we were speaking to the Alpine drivers. they were saying, oh yeah, well, we have all this test time, we have all these races during the day. They would go back to their Airbnb and go straight onto the simulators once again, do more practice when they're at their hotel. I mean, it's just immense the amount of time that these drivers pour into this championship. We were speaking to Otis Lawrence in the break yesterday, and he was saying, well, I'm putting in 10 hours on the simulator a day. I want this. I've put so much dedication into everything. And at just 18 years of age, Otis Lawrence is making waves in the scene of sim racing and very much a championship contender for this year. 10 hours a day on the simulator. That is unbelievable, Alex. Alex, where do you think you would fare up if you were to jump into these sims?
Last by a country mile. I absolutely love the hours and the commitment.
Yeah.
And honestly, said it before, I'll say it again, that the quest for perfection here is what's required to do this the entire time. So a remarkable commitment shown by everyone whose name is currently on your picture. The crucial thing then is who can deal with Ismail Fassi going very, very nicely with the fastest time. Jarno Opmeer finding himself in second. Josh Edu, we spoke and heard of the Alpine pairing. Edu has been practicing all the while for the great unknown of the Barcelona circuit. Look at how well matched he is with teammate and contender Otis Lawrence.
Yeah, Josh Edu, we said he's only focused on this Barcelona circuit, so has a lot to live up for, was quietly confident, well, I would say quietly confident, vocally confident in his interview with Nina J. Paul that he is looking forward to this race. Barcelona, a circuit that suits his driving style very, very well. He's already had those 2 pole positions in his 38 race starts in the F1 Sim Racing Championship. But could it be 3 pole positions in 39? Well, we've got 3 minutes until the end of Q2 and then another 10 minutes after that to find out what the finishing result is. Ismail Fassi, it was a big shock from him in Saudi Arabia yesterday. I mean, it was pole position just 12 months ago for the Ferrari driver. Well, he was in the Williams colours at the time, but Fassi always notably seen for his 1-lap pace. He's known for that blistering pace when it matters, when the driver needs to set the fastest lap. That's one driver you can count on, Ismail Fassi. But one driver that's maybe not as strong in qualifying, but race pace, racecraft, and also just race awareness, Jarno Opmeer. He's a 3-time world champion for a reason, and clearly showing that this year is going to be no different.
He's back in the mix. He is the championship leader. And as you say, when he has a good qualifying session, the rest of the field take notice. This is not a straight-through kind of session for Jarno Opmeer, like we have seen from time to time. He is flying. Ismail Fassi's retired from the session. He believes he's done enough to book his passage into the top 10 shootout. Alfie Butcher currently on the bubble. It's also Jake Benham, Thomas Ronhaar, Esteban Pukki, and then the others are fighting for positions. You can see further down as well. Inside 2 minutes to go. Big improvements needed. This is the step forward moment. On board with Freddie Rasmussen. Freddie Rasmussen finding himself in 7th. Not the ideal position to be in. Little bit of a margin by F1 sim racing standards, but not enormous. Others will be expecting an improvement out there as well. So needs a lap to be super safe of progression. Track at its best at any point of the session so far. New tyres for the field, and these are such talented drivers. Who's going to step forward when it matters? Focusing on those who've been swapped in as well. Josh Eden, what a story so far for him. P3, Joni Tormonen looking at Q3 with a good effort as well. And again, look at proximity to teammates here. That's what they've been brought in for. I always feel a bit sorry for them when you're like, practice on this for hours upon hours, day after day. And by the way, if you get it wrong, there's no guarantee that you're back in the car later in the year. High pressure, both of them deliver.
I think that's why the Alpine drivers are striving at the moment, though. They have such a good team around them. Otis Lawrence saying in an interview that this is the best team he's ever worked with. He's so happy this year. He's so confident this year. And I think having that backing and that surrounding from the team, that support, is so important when you're dedicating so much time and so much of your life into this one game and into this one championship, because it's all or nothing at the end of the day. Most of the prize money is going towards the team's championship. So if the team are able to provide that support and foundation for the drivers, then inevitably, in the end, it's going to be better results all around. And I think the main two driver pairing of Otis Lawrence and Danny Beresnay is a great pairing from Alpine, because Otis Lawrence, with being only his second season, he's got a fresh set of eyes, and maybe that's all it needs, is a fresh set of eyes to solve the solution and solve the problem on the circuit as well. Danny Beresnay can learn from Otis Lawrence in that sense, and Otis Lawrence can learn from Beresnay in his veteran experience and how to deal with the championship, how to deal with the pressure and the situations that you get to put under. Qualifying time once again has now hit zero. Ismail Fassi already retiring from the session, clearly feeling that he's done enough, but
Here's Manley. Here's Manley across the line. What can he do? He can get himself safe. That's a nice line, and that's a nice time to put on the board. Over the line we go. It's Fassi, then it's Butcher. Pookie improves as well. Nicely done for him. Butcher in third. Otmir currently in fourth position. Longay P5. In the drop zone at the moment was John Evans. John Evans has done something about it. So is Haladji. He's managed to get through in the drop zone. Pedreno and Rasmussen. Rasmussen trying to find a return to form. Tormala and Ronha. As over the line goes Freddie Rasmussen, and he gets himself out of danger with a time for P6. Otis Lawrence, second in the point standings, finds himself P1 at the moment. And as they come across the line to conclude the session, we find ourselves with Benham, Evans, Haladji, Manley and Ronha having a difficult campaign. It's continued. He's P15. Those are the 5 to 4.
Evans so close to making a Q2 appearance. It was a 1:10.749 that was set by John Evans. The cutoff time was a 1:10.734. That was Nicholas Longay. So 600ths of a second was all that it took for John Evans to make his way through into Q3. For one moment, I thought we were going to be seeing a Q3 appearance from Evans, but unfortunately just a little bit short. Nico Longay, we saw after he completed his lap, he wasn't content with that at all. It was a shake of the head after he crossed the line, and very lucky to make it through in 10th position.
Yeah, he is, and he's made it through by the grand total of 9,000ths of a second. But he has made it through. And sometimes all you need is a chance. But that is the difference. That is the difference between getting a chance to go again. If you can turn that P10 into a P5, enormous, so close to 11th, and having to settle for an alternative strategy and hoping that we get one of those races. But it's at Barcelona. The walls are not close like they were yesterday, and we find ourselves with the top 10 set then. Really intriguing out front. Otis Lawrence, Jarno Otmir, top 2 in the order, top 2 in the championship. Then it's Joni Tormala, Ruben Pedreno, Josh Edu getting in the Alpine today. Ismail Fassi took good steps forward. Svan Pookie will be pleased with his result in P7. Then it's Freddie Rasmussen, needed the lap, got the lap, wasn't spectacular, didn't need to be spectacular, just needed to book his place in the top 10 shooter. Then it's Alfie Butcher and Nicholas Longay, the 10 to go for pole.
Well, Nico Longay has a lot of work to do if he wants to live up to his qualifying results that we'd expect from the Williams driver. He's had a great run in his history in qualifying results. 63 race starts, 8 pole positions, so very quick up at the front end in the championship so far. 3 seem to be his lucky number coming into this weekend. In all 3 races, he started from 3rd position. Managed to do one better in Jeddah yesterday, started from 2nd, but can we see another improvement there from the Frenchman?
Pole positions do not get created equally.
Of course.
Pole in Jeddah, not the same as pole in Barca.
No, not at
So
all.
he will love it if he can repeat it. Nicholas Longay, you can see, he's never one to leave you guessing. Likeable guy, talented, but he's got a chance. He's got a real chance here. The reset has found itself in. It's not like the very old school qualifying format where you'd be stuck with that time and you'd have to go and improve it. He's got a chance to go again, but he's clearly not happy with his feel behind the wheel.
No, and I don't blame him. Just scraping through in 10th position on Nico Longay's terms is just not going to be good enough for him.
Okay, Nina is speaking to another driver who's not had the qualifying hour they were hoping for.
Jan, you scored points on debut in Event 1 and you were only 19 thousandths off of the top 10 here. Tight margins out there. What went wrong?
I think I just wasn't fast enough, honestly. You know, it happens, the gaps are so close. It could have been one better corner and I would have been through. So, like I said, this is esports and I hope we'll improve into the next races.
What was your biggest lesson out there that you can take forward with you in the race?
Well, it was my first dry quali session ever, so that's an experience. I mean, it was a bit more stressful for me than the wet session we had in Japan. But we're starting from P13. I know how to get points from this position. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll do the best to get the points.
Talk to us about your prep, because obviously Japan was your first round here in F1 Esports. What's the preparation been like between Event 1 and Event 2?
I would say that's been a bit worse actually than for Japan, because I also have exams and stuff, so it was a bit more difficult time-wise. That's why I also drive only one track this event. But I gave it my best. I think, the pace in practice was good, but here on the stage it's a bit different. So, like I said, I'm just gaining experience now, and hopefully we can improve in the future.
Multi-talented, exams and F1 Esports. Go well later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know, I like the sound of more. I mean, exams, I really feel for the guy. That's hard enough to do, and we've spoken about the hours that they need to put in to be competitive. Great commitment in both causes. Hope he gets the results that he needs, and not quite, but again, fine margins, and yeah. I love the fact, dry quali. Yeah, there was less nerve-wracking than before. Here's his teammate, Ruben Pedreno, the sole remaining Aston Martin in this session.
Yeah, Jan Halliday was very much thrown into the deep end at Event 1. It was a wet qualifying out in Suzuka, and he's not joking when he says he knows how to score points from this position. It was a 13th position start from qualifying in Suzuka. He managed to recuperate 2 points and finished in 9th on the circuit. So 1 race start, 2 career points in Jan Halliday's rookie season. 21 years of age, has to deal with his uni exams at the same time, looking for good results on and off the circuit. And let's see what he's able to do in the race later on today. But his Aston Martin counterpart, the mastermind of strategy that we've labelled him as, Ruben Pedreno, the only driver to set a time yet in qualifying.
Yeah, he's out there nice and early on his favoured soft tyres, which you've spoken about already. So Otis Lawrence is finding himself out on the track once again. And we're at that stage of Q3 for the moment. An Alpine driver, this is so important. When you know you're a championship contender, when you know that you're in the mix, and you also know that this is not a rearguard session for Jarno Opmeer. This is going to be Opmeer in the mix as well. Anytime you can get one over your rival, it's more than just a pole position. It's a psychological boost. He's trying to go back-to-back with pole positions.
Yeah, trying to do everything he can to get that pole position. And I'm sure if we see back-to-back pole positions, it will be a very big celebration that he's quite notable for, is Otis Lawrence. And I think that's what everyone loves about Otis's character, is he's very down-to-earth, lovely guy, and very emotional in his results. I mean, after the race yesterday, finishing second, that's still an outstanding result in the race, but he was clearly emotional, bubbling up, feeling that he could have done a little bit better. Second is not good enough for him. Otis Lawrence has those racing driver instincts. Second place, in his mind, is first loser.
And that's how so many of them in the field feel, but you are always knowing immediately how Otis feels about it. Charismatic chap and fighting at the front. We're talking to you from the studio. Last year, the setup, we were all in one giant studio. First time he celebrated a great result. One of the few times I've ever jumped in commentary because we were right in front of the rigs. Suddenly the roar of delight that he'd achieved what he wanted to. You don't often get that. We are looking at 6 minutes to go now. So Ruben Pedreno's gone out there, but the lack of times on the left-hand side will show you that everyone's waiting for the sweet spot, the key moment. It's coming your way in a few moments. Stefan Püki finding himself with a team switch. Plenty of team switching, you get that all the way across, but the former Mercedes man now with the Williams team that won quickly last year. And Püki has got the solitary points finish. He's only competed in 3 of the races, competed yesterday as well, out of the points. Before that, he was in the points in that sensational Bahrain race.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was a penalty that stuck Istvan Püki out of the points yesterday because of that incident down at Turn 1, which we saw involved with Ismail Fassi as well. Pookie just misjudging his braking zone, which is so easy to do in a huge gaggle of cars like that. Hitting your braking point whilst being distracted by 4 or 5 cars surrounding you, it's not easy to do. It was an honest mistake from Istvan Pookie, and I'm sure we will learn from the mistakes being made. Alfie Butcher is looking for a much better qualifying result than yesterday. We saw both McLarens out of qualifying by Q2. This time around, Alfie Butcher asserts himself up at the top of Q3 for the time being, but Ismail Fassi on his 1-lap pace. He's done it before, he'll do it again. Ismail Fassi is going to hit the top by 7/100ths of a second, but Fast Freddy, can he do anything to respond? Well, it's just a little bit shy, 6,000ths of a second. Watch out for Joni Tommler in his appearance in Event 1. It wasn't the greatest result from Joni. We would have expected maybe a little bit better, and could this be redemption day for Tommler? He sticks himself 4th, and Jarno Opmeer off the back of a race victory. It's not going to be enough to top the timing tables just yet. It's actually down in P6, so maybe a bit more of a reserved lap there from Jarno Opmeer, just making sure that he has something on the board. There is still 4 minutes and 30 seconds for him to improve on that.
Yeah, we all did the same thing. We looked at the top of the timing page and then had to scan down to where Opmeer had found himself. So we're looking very strong Q1, Q2. Finding himself P6 at the moment. That's a little bit of work to do. And crucially, championship connotation. Commentators always banging on about the championship connotation. Finding himself behind his nearest points rival so far. Josh Edu in 7th. It's Pookie, Pedreno and Longuet. Longuet again finding himself not particularly thrilled. We saw that off-board, didn't we, in the arena, and he didn't look happy. Maybe the lap time explaining things. Ismail Fassi, come on down. Provisional pole at this stage. Freddie Rasmussen, talking a lot about him needing a turnaround. You spoke about the McLarens not happy with things early in the season. Alfie Butcher, a fine P3 at the moment. Only at the moment. Back to the pits we come with the Ferrari man who's got a hint of a smile on his face, and you can understand why after that lap.
Well, you don't blame him at all. He's got a very good record in his qualifying results, as he's only had 28 starts in the championship, but 4 pole positions to his name, 3 of them coming last season as well. Saudi Arabia, Bahrain and Australia, we saw him get pole position in last season, and the Ferrari man, I think, was a great signing indeed for the Ferrari team. They know they can rely on him, and no nerves at all. Not a single movement from Ismail Fassi as he's sitting there quite calm. I'm sure you have his engineers in his ears. They'll be looking over the data and looking over maybe any mini sectors. Maybe in Sector 1 is an area where Ismail Fassi can improve, as he doesn't have the fastest Sector 1 or Sector 3 actually, that being the case. However, in the second technical sector, that is where Fassi shines. So he'll be looking over those mini sectors and splits in Sector 1 and Sector 3, seeing where he can possibly improve. It may be a couple meters braking later here, a couple meters braking earlier here, hitting an apex at a certain point. All of that information will be fed to him from the pit wall that is situated right behind him.
Yeah, Otis Lawrence going well in that first sector, Fassi going nicely in that first sector, Rasmussen going well there, and also in the final sector of the racetrack, the one where you've really got to balance the speed nicely. And the veteran and the constant winner in F1 sim racing history finds himself with a time that is very, very beatable, but the top 3 will all feel that they're in the battle for pole, and Alfie Butcher will be delighted to be part of it. Freddie Rasmussen's got 7,000ths of a second to find, 8,000ths of a second to find, and Alfie Butcher's got 800ths of a second to find. Nice combination between the two of them out there for the moment. Here is the man currently on provisional pole. As you said, quite a lot of poles for his starts and a breakthrough season last year. You don't get the call from Ferrari unless you've proven yourself in this game.
No, not at all. And it doesn't come easy either. He's got a 14% success rate at pole position out of his results so far. So Fassi looking to get that percentage up a little bit more. And what percentage that is, even having over 10% of your races started from pole is an outstanding achievement in a grid that is so competitive right here. Alex, though, 1 minute now remaining on the clock. You made your predictions of Otis Lawrence to start on pole position. I'll give you one last chance. Do you want to stick with Otis or do you want to switch it up?
No, I'm going to stick with Otis. You always back who you've picked. That's the fun of predictions. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're horribly wrong. He will be hoping that he's got something in the locker for this final stage, and it is absolutely vital that you perform at this point. The expectations in the arena right now is that it is going to be a nightmare to overtake. The joy for us all watching is that we don't know. Barcelona in the past for the real thing, a nightmare to overtake. Delete the chicane, it's a wonderful racetrack all of a sudden. We're hoping we get that later on, but this is to decide the grid, and this is the final 20 seconds of Q3. Championship contender finds himself, championship leader finds himself in 6th. Championship contender, closest one, Otis Lawrence finds himself in 5th. Freddie Rasmussen hasn't got much to find. It is fine margins out there. He's looking for an improvement on the racetrack at the moment. We'll see whether he's able to get that as he moves through into the dreaded Sector 3 for many, but not for him. He's the fastest of anyone so far through there, and he is marginally up at that stage of the timing beam. It's all on the line for Freddie Rasmussen now. Can he force a response from Ismail Fassi? 2 brilliant corners to go for the man who wins every single time he rocks up to any single season. He comes across the line. He does improve. Over to the others in the field. This is absolutely vital now. Jarno Opmeer bests his teammates' time. Championship leader to the top. Nicolas Longuet finds himself. Here's Otis Lawrence. Otis Lawrence comes across the line, and Otis Lawrence does have enough to hit the front when it matters. Checkered flag is out. It's Otis Lawrence. Then it's Jarno Opmeer. Fassi from provisional pole finds himself now in P3. Josh Edu in the Alpine and up to 4th. It's Freddie Rasmussen in 5th. Alfie Butcher in 6th. And then it's Pedreno. And then Longuet. Yoni Tormola's P9. It's Van Pookie's P10. And it's Otis Lawrence with back-to-back pole positions.
An uproar of celebration was pending as soon as Otis Lawrence crossed the line. Josh Edo also finding himself in the top 4. Celebrations over at Alpine once again. Back-to-back pole positions for Otis Lawrence. Prediction was correct on your side, Alex, and a very deserved pole sitter. But Jarno Opmeer, we said yesterday, if he sorted out his qualifying results, if he started out his race position that he started in, he was going to be a menace on the circuit. He's going to be a problem. And with Jarno Opmeer kicking it off from the front row of the grid, I'm not sure if anyone's going to be able to stop him.
It is going to be a challenge for Otis Lawrence, Ismail Fassi and Josh Edu. Credit to Josh Edu, finds himself 200ths back of a pole position time set by a driver who's in the mix. And Jarno Opmeer will be looking at it and going, 200ths of a second, and it would have been me at the front. But it is delight for Otis Lawrence, who has done it once again. And this emerging battle at the front between Opmeer and Lawrence, it's been spicy in the past between those two, and we're going to find ourselves with them at the front, with the front row being Lawrence and Opmeer, Fassi ahead of Edu on row 2, and Freddie Rasmussen finding himself with a solid P5, and you've always got that opportunity further down. Alfie Butcher, then it was Ruben Pedreno. Nicolas Longuet not happy with the overall balance. You could see that from the off-board shots. Yoni Tormola in the car, and P9 is Van Pookie getting himself into the top 10. It's Otis Lawrence who has pole position for round 5 of the championship.
Yeah, 3rd pole position goes the way of Otis Lawrence. The Welshman also picks up an extra point for his championship total, and every point counts. That now cuts down the championship lead of Jarno Opmeer down to just 10 points, and that can all change in just one race. All it takes is Jarno Opmeer to finish down in 3rd and a race victory from Otis Lawrence, and all of a sudden the tables are now flipped on its head, and Otis Lawrence could be tied for the championship lead, or even in the championship lead come the end of this Barcelona race. Anything can happen. It's going to be difficult. Strategy is going to be a big moment, and so a big focus as well for the teams and drivers coming into it. As we've mentioned, speaking to the drivers and the teams as well, they know that overtaking is going to be difficult around this circuit, so it's going to be about consistency, making sure that track position is going to be crucial as well. Clean air is going to be ideal for the drivers, and they are going to be looking to find that throughout the race.
Let's send it to the arena. Nina is with our pole sitter.
Yes, I am with Otis Lawrence, making history as the first ever Barcelona pole sitter for the F1 Sim Racing Championship. You like breaking records, don't you, Otis? That must have felt good.
Oh, it was a great lap. To be honest, well, great lap, great last sector. I pretty much personal best in the last sector, just like I did in Kota last year. The first 2 sectors were kind of iffy, but you know, I got the lap together at the end. P1 today, got Josh in P4 as well, my Welsh goat in P4. Yeah, it's amazing to see him. I'm so happy for him as well. So, yeah, we just got to focus for the race now and try and convert it.
There's a bit of deja vu because Jarno Opmeer is also, well, he's starting behind you. How do you feel about that? You meet again. How do you plan on keeping him behind you?
Well, he's the greatest of all time in sim racing, so it's going to be very tough to beat him, but I'm going to give it my all. I'm very confident. The pace is amazing. I think the race sab is amazing as well, so we'll see what happens.
You mentioned your teammate, the Welsh goat you described him as. He's starting P4 on the second row behind you. Will that benefit you, do you think?
Yeah, it will benefit me a lot, actually, because it's really hard to overtake on Spain. It's going to be a lot down to strategy and who can get track position, I feel like. So we'll see what happens. It's good to have a teammate behind me and very close to me. So, yeah, I have someone who can help me a bit.
Well, best of luck today.
Thank you.
Top stuff there from Nina in the arena. I like that. So alliterated rhyme there.
I like that too.
But I tell you what, I really like is a solid quali, which we have just witnessed and went down to the wire. But he's the greatest of all time, Jarno, starting in P2. I tell you what, Otis is definitely making a name for himself, and well done on the prediction there, Jakesy.
Yeah, he top 2 driver in the championship. It wasn't exactly a bold one, was it? But no, he delivered at the end. I think the key thing when you're in the middle of the pack and then you take that step forward under pressure, he didn't really seem to be feeling any pressure. I think that's a great sign for his championship credentials. I also like the ladling on of praise. I'm like, he's the greatest of all time. Like, you know, I'm trying to beat the greatest of all time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it was bold. I liked it. And then he referred to Josh Ido as the Welsh goat as well, the greatest of all time. Kai, any standouts for you? If you were to sort of, anyone who just missed that electric quali, you know, any standouts?
Well, talking about just missed, I think it was a shock to see Nico Longe so far down in 8th position in qualifying. We normally expect him to be up at the front end, and this is the first time this season that he's been outside of the top 3 in a qualifying result. So starting a little bit further back, maybe in uncharted territory, not used to starting so far down, is Nico Longe. But another thing that I was surprised by, well, not surprised by, but also I was really hoping to see John Evans make it through into Q3. 19 thousandths of a second is all that separated him and a top 10 start. 12th position. It's constant improvements, though, from Evans.
Yeah, definitely. We're all rooting for John. Such a lovely person to chat to. Let's look back at some of those highlights then. And for me, standing out, I feel guilty. I tipped Nico to get the pole, and he ends up in P8. And was also praising Haas. So listen, I won't be doing that for our next race.
You brought the predictions back, mate.
I know,
Live by the sword, die by the sword, my friend.
Well, look, I'll go the opposite next time. But it was really sad to see the Haas. And the lights go out. That's a feature this year. If you're out of quali, the lights go out. But there's some serious wobble there of a driver.
That's one way to get your onboard not used by the director, isn't it? Great to see from Yoni Tall, a lovely reaction.
Yeah, of all that we talked about going into quali about the driver lineup changes and whether that would work for Aston Martin there with Tycho Hardy coming in. But it definitely worked for Racing Bulls. Yoni Tolman looked great to see getting into Q3.
Yeah, excellent. Delivering. You get put in the car for a specific event and you got to deliver. He did so. So well played. It was excellent stuff. And look at the delta there at the top for Otis Lawrence. Knowing that it's improving. Some drivers like it, some drivers don't. That man did. Another pole in the books.
When you're just in a rich vein of form, you just can't do any wrong at that point. Whereas other drivers, for example, Thomas Ronhart, I mean, 23 consecutive getting into Q3. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, day before as well, like it just today and yesterday, it starts in P15. It's just really just not clicking for him right now, is it, Kai?
No, it's not at all. It was a difficult day for all the drivers at the Mercedes camp. Tycho Hardy going out in Q1, and that's not what you'd expect from the Mercedes driver. But up at the front end, chasing perfection, Otis Lawrence also has a perfectionist starting alongside him. Jarno Opmeer, we said he needs to improve. We've been banging on about it. He needs to improve his qualifying results. And this might be judgment day as Jarno Opmeer starting from the front row of the grid, his highest starting qualifying position of the season. And we said he was going to be a problem if he was starting high up on the grid. And that's exactly what we might see today.
Yeah. Listen, Nina is in the arena and is with Ismail Fassi.
Yes, Ismail. P3, bounce back from yesterday. You're now qualified in the top 3. That's a better day at the office.
It definitely is. Yesterday I was quite disappointed with the result. I already didn't feel that confident around Jeddah, but not here in Spain. I knew we were quick. And we showed it on track, even though I didn't get pole. I'm still happy with P3 because we are quick around here. We can do things from P3, we can win the race. In my quali lap, the last quali lap, I messed up a bit in the middle sector. Had a moment of oversteer that pretty much cost me pole. But, you know, no one gets the perfect lap. Yeah, happy with the performance, I guess.
Talk us through the incident with Pookie yesterday. How did you see it from your perspective?
I mean, there's not really much I can say or could have done. I just got smashed from behind, and yeah, that was unlucky. When I rejoined, I had a little bit of desync with Freddie on my left, and that's why I saw myself in the wall a few seconds later.
You just said to me you can definitely win at Barcelona from P3. So is that the aim?
It surely is the aim. It's always the aim, winning the race. So,
Congratulations, great bounce back.
thank you.
Great to see Ismail. A bit of a return to form. You mentioned as well. I was surprised because he started so quickly in the points last year.
Yeah.
And then to see him out of there, getting caught up in incidents. He mentioned about Pookie there. Pookie was given a 10-second penalty. But it's not going your way. It's not going your way. But then you know you have the ability. And he's shown it by being in P3 to start.
That's the bounce back. You're always going to get a race that doesn't go your way. Sometimes for the drivers and the standards they set, that's a P8, right? If you don't score points and you lose that, you've got to come back really, really strong. And he's done that. He's given himself a great foundation to bag that podium.
What are we expecting then for the race later on when we come back at 2 p.m. British time there? What are you expecting? What are we hoping for? Fireworks, chaos?
I'm hoping they're going to be able to overtake because they're slightly downbeat in there, aren't they? But I've heard that before in real life, and then we've seen alternative strategies working, and we've seen a flurry of overtakes. So hopefully they'll be able to send one to the inside of turn 1, and then hopefully we'll see an alternative strategy from those at the back. Quite like to see a split field, and then it's going to be about start reaction time, and it's going to be the same 2 contenders at the front.
Every Red Bull fan now looking at Freddie starting in P5 and then Jarno P2. You said at the start of the show, never write off Jarno Opmeer. That's kind of what I guess a lot of people are thinking. Well, he's starting in the front row. I think this could be Jarno's again.
I think even if we see him start from a Q3 position within the top 10, you can't write off Jarno Opmeer. And he proved that again yesterday with his result in Saudi Arabia. Started a little bit further down the order outside of the top 5, but on that alternate strategy was able to make it work and took control of the race. That's very much a thing that Jarno Opmeer is known for and he's great at. He's so smart in his decisions on the circuit. He's great at reading the drivers around him and making those smart racecraft decisions in making his way through the field. Although he was on the alternate strategy, which may have been frowned upon by half of the grid, Jarno Opmeer took control, took advantage and said, this is my race to win.
OK, well, 2 GOATs are racing later on. Jarno Opmeer, the greatest of all time, and our newly crowned Welsh GOAT, Josh Ido, Afrikabi Chidi, Alex Jakes and Nina Jade. We will catch you later on at 2 p.m. We'll be going racing for the first time ever in the F1 Sim Racing World Championship 2026 around Barcelona. We'll see you then.